Well, I'm very pleased to be able to introduce to all of you this afternoon one of my colleagues on the Black History Commission board, Miss Joyce Holden Gibson. Miss Gibson was born in Dumas, Arkansas, in Deshay County. As a young woman, she attended what is now the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. It was in Arkansas AM&N College, where she majored in home economics. She then had a very successful career teaching home economics, science, biology, and chemistry classes in several Arkansas communities: Bradley, Clarendon, Newport, and Prescott. She also, at various times, has been a 4-H agent for Nevada County with the University of Arkansas Cooperative Extension Service, and also served for years as the Nevada County Librarian in Prescott. And the topic of her presentation this afternoon is to protect and serve an apron collection.
All right now.
Just imagine. Okay, let's see. What are we going to have for dinner? Okay, I got some speckled butter beans on. Let me stir that pot. See, they do. Yeah, that old piece of fat back is doing good. And we got some okra in this pot. And this big old corn on the cob. And let's see, I got some sweet bread in the oven. It'll be out in a minute. And let's see, Book T and the kids are down in the field. I got to call them in a minute. Oh, Lord, have mercy. Did I get enough eggs for that thing I got to bake for church? I'll go out there and see if the more hens and lay some eggs. Let's see. I got to slice the tomatoes and the cucumbers and the onion. What's wrong with me? Okay, let me get my stuff. There's good old tomato I washed, slice them, and some good old onions already sliced. And the cucumbers, and let's see what I do with my vinegar. Sprinkle a little vinegar on it. They like that vinegar on the cucumbers and onions. And some, let's get salt, pepper. Book T loves salt, pepper. Jesus is all the world to me. My life, my joy, my all. He is my strength. From day to day, without him, I would fall. When I am sad, with him I go. No other one can cheer me so. When I am sad, he makes me glad. He's my friend. Ooh, Lord have mercy. I feel like singing second verse. Jesus is all the world to me, my friend in trial sore. I go to him for blessings and he gives them more and more. He's in the sunshine and the rain. Have mercy, Lord. He's in the harvest golden grain. Sunshine and rain, harvest of grain, he's my friend. Oh yes, we got everything ready. Let's see. We got the neck bone, we got the speckled butter bean, we got the corn on the cob, we got the boiled okra, we got the cornbread, and we got some sweet bread, which ain't nothing but a little old plain cake that are cooked in that skillet. So let me get Book T them attention, and then I'll get it on the stove. Let me go call them. Let me go call them. Book T! Book T! Y'all come on out! Woo! Food ready! Dinner ready! Come on! Okay, come on. Come on up. Okay, let me put this on the table. Okay, we put that pot, put this over here, and put it on the table. Then we take this one, and I think I take the sweet bread, and I already got these cloths on the table where it won't burn. Okay. Well, hey, y'all come on in. Y'all wash your hands? David Lee, let me see your hands. Boy, get back after that pump and wash your hands. And use the soap this time. I'll tell you, Book T, why don't you watch out to him when he's washing his hands? Yeah, y'all come around and sit down. I'm gonna bring the tomatoes and onions over here. Y'all sit on around. Come on, David Lee. Now let me see your hands again. Boy, why didn't you clean your face? Come here. Y'all gonna be the death of me yet. Woo. Okay, let's set a blessing. Book T. Okay. Amen. Okay, y'all go on in here. I'm gonna go sit down and rest. Woo. Now, did you imagine? Did it take some of you back? Now, that lady who was calling Book T is was my maternal grandmother. She lived to be 96. We call her Mama, not Big Mama, Mama. That lady beside her, well, my grandmother's name was Dorothy Davis Lacey. Sometimes we call her Lee Rance. I guess it's because she was from Louisiana. I never did find out why, but we'll call her Lee Rance, term of endearment. The lady next to her is my mother, whom I call by her name all these years, Burley. Her name is Bert Lee Holden, but I call her Burley. I called my daddy George. Anyway, and then the other ladies beside her, the one in the larger picture was the oldest aunt, and she was named after my grandmother. Her name was Dorothy also. We call her Dot Jr. You know, everybody had a nickname? Okay. And then the other three up there, the one on the right is Ernestine, the one next to her is my youngest aunt, the one in the middle. She and I graduated from high school and college together. And so my mama and her and my grandmama were, anyway. And then one of my favorite aunts, she used to send me my class dues every year, Matilda. She didn't like Matilda because Papa named her after one of his aunts, so she changed her name to Shirley. So they all wore aprons. You know, when you go to their houses, and those three aunts up there, T to the far left has passed. Those other three aunts live in Chicago. And whatever they did, they got up putting on aprons. And the occupations that they had, that some of them were, one of them was a cook for the Cotton Belt Railways. And so she had to wear aprons. My grandmother lived in aprons. And back in the day, you had to wear an apron because you didn't wash like you wash now. So that apron served to protect your clothing because you put on those clothes a few more days.
Okay? So that apron was to protect and serve. So those of you who are protecting and serving, would you please stand up with my aprons on? Now this is just a little bit of my collection. I started collecting back in the late 70s, early 80s, because I was a home ec teacher, and you know we wore aprons in class. And our kids made then what was torn aprons. Anybody remember torn aprons in home ec class where you measured and you did a little clip and you tore? But today I'm going to show you at the end of this, you know, we're supposed to come into the 21st century. Don't leave all that stuff behind you. But anyway, I'll do a little demonstration on one or two of them and to show you something. But anyway, I want to thank those of you who are participating. My two daughters, Regina and Terry, who did ironing and took pictures. My son-in-law, who took pictures of things you're going to see up there. And the day, and you're talking about sweating then. And they said, Mama, sit down. So anyway, what you will see, we'll start with Genesis back in the day. Okay, the beginning. Now some of us might think of the first apron as Adam and Eve. I said some of us, not all of us, but to protect and serve and sometimes hide. Okay. Now also I became familiar with, if you do the next slide please, church ladies that, oh I think I got a slide here. Anyway, the events that caused me to think about aprons. And you know, in the black church we celebrated everything. Pastor's anniversary, church anniversary, Women's Day, Men's Day, Choir Day, Ursha Day, Day. We celebrated. And in the evening after church we had BTU. And those ladies would serve us some Kool-Aid and some cookies, and they had on their little aprons. Now when they celebrated church anniversary, they brought their beautiful aprons out. And organdy, and just fine, and they paraded around with their food. Yes. And so the aprons phased then that they had on. And then when we would also look at occupations that people were into, and the aprons you had to wear, not that you just wore it because you wanted to, but there are certain occupations you have to in the medical field, in the food industry. Some of them are real cute with uniforms and things like that. But to serve and protect. Now, I think we need to go back. I think I missed one. The everyday family meal aprons. Now some of you, those of you who think you got on that family meal apron, stand up. Okay, these are some, what we might call some plain old aprons. No, you're not family meal back there in the organdy. The family meal apron might be something special as well. You cooking, it might be somebody's birthday or something like that. Because we differentiate, and usually the type of fabric you had told you the activity you were going to have. The fancier the fabric, like the organdy, the lace trim, and all of that good stuff. And if you had some handwork on it, cross stitch, embroidery, things like that, those were for company aprons and stuff. But those everyday type aprons, now my grandmother was one to use pieces of fabric and just tie them around for her apron. That's what she would do. That would be her apron to serve and protect. So family meals apron. Next slide, please. Okay, Revelation, when you had Genesis. So here we go with Revelation. To get dirty is human, to become clean is divine. and to stay clean. And so we look at Sunday and special company aprons. When we knew Sister Hamilton was coming, we might take that old apron off. Because we never answered the door in that old dirty apron. My grandmother didn't, and my mama didn't. We live way out in the country. But when somebody knocked on the door and we'd been working in this apron, gathering eggs out in the garden, getting butter beans and stuff, we took that apron off and put on this Sunday company apron. Because we wanted you to see us in a better light. Okay? So it was to serve and protect. Next one, please. Then we had these Sunday and special company aprons that continue, and some of you have those on. Would you stand, please? Do you have? Yeah, there's my organdy apron in the back. And Miss Stella Lacey, who I think is in our family, she let me borrow her. And this is a cute little thing up here. Turn around and let them see it. See the work on that? Okay, and Miss Hyson that's one of my mother's oldest aprons that she has on. It has a few little tears in it, but that was one of my mother's Sunday go to meeting aprons. And that I think Regina sort of claimed some of these. Herbert, sit down. You will be back in the other one. Okay, the next slide, please. Getting down and dirty. Now, Herbert, you can stand. Okay, now I have on the getting down and dirty apron too, where you go out in the garden and gather stuff, and you might, now this one's kind of fancy too. But anyway, you can exchange them sometimes. Sometimes you did, this is all you had. And some of you have on some denim aprons that are made from, yeah, there you go, made from the denim outfits, and some of them have been repurposed. I bought some of them at garage sales, at consignment shop. People gave me some. I've had some for years. I don't remember where I got it from. But I love this kind of stuff. And I was telling Ms. Thomas, where did she go to? That, okay, she was talking about cookbooks this morning. My children need to tell her, how many cookbooks does Mama have? You said 500. I think about 200 and some cookbooks. And I love cookbooks. Been collecting them longer than aprons. Okay? All right. So you get down and dirty. Herbert has on the carpenter or whatever. You put the little tacks in or the nails and whatever. Now he has on a small one, but you go to Lowe's, they have on some bigger ones probably, and places like that. Okay, the next one, please. These are some more getting down and dirty. Do I have some down and dirty? And some of them are really cute. Yeah, that one back there, I love that one because my mother used to, yeah. This was when you were sweeping and waxing floors and all that kind of good stuff. So you put that apron on to protect you as well and took it off and washed it. Okay, the next one. Special occasion aprons. Okay, where are you? Yeah, there you are. There you are. There you are. And my cousin Elmira. But she goes by Myra now, so don't you dare say Elmira. But growing up, we used to call her Mike. Anyway, so I told her Mike. Anyway, how many of you in here have a nickname? Not what your husband or your boyfriend or significant other call you, but what you grew up with. How many of you have a nickname you grew up with? Okay, good. My nickname is Sugar Baby. The other day I was at Mad Butchers in Dumas. One of my classmates said, no, she was a class ahead of me, but anyway, she said, hey Joyce T, and I said, hey, how are you doing? We were just talking. So she followed me on the outside and she said, I started to call you Sugar Baby, but you know how some people are. I said, I'm not like that. In fact, sometimes I don't answer to Joyce T, I answer to Sugar Baby. And my license plate is Joy. And I don't know why they didn't put this in my introduction, because I sent it to Miss T, Miss O, that my grandson, stand up Jared, is the only perfect student at Robertson High School. All right, now that you know, as Harvey would say, then that's the rest of the story. Anyway, we have another slide. Now, these two books, when I became a county librarian, Lord has blessed me to do a lot of things in my life. And when I retired from teaching, I already had the apron book because I had given one to my mother, one to my friend in Hot Springs. And then, looking at either Books A Million or Barnes and Noble somewhere, I saw Mudille's aprons. Now, how many of you call your mama or grandmama Mudille? Yeah, okay. Now, in this book, this little boy knew what day of the week it was by the color apron his mother wore. He knew when it was wash day, when she was baking, even when she was going shopping. Now, there were some women that I can remember growing up who wore their aprons downtown. They actually wore them. Now, my grandmother, she put on a hat, she had her purse, her gloves, because she was going trading. Not shopping, trading. She was trading her money for some whatever she needed. And now my grandmother, my maternal grandmother, I knew her, I practically lived with her. And like I said, my youngest aunt is about a year and 2 or 3 months older than I am. So in that class, I started school in the 2nd grade. Because back in the day, the black schools had it where if this was your first time at school, you could stay in a grade with an older relative until you became acclimated to school. So my aunt was already in the 2nd grade. And if I were up to Mama's when she got off the bus in the evening, she would read to me Mac and Love's books. She taught me to count the alphabet. She taught me how to write my name, how to print my name. So when I got in the 2nd grade, Mrs. Asley Reed told us to do all of these little exercises, and I did it. Ms. Reed did not send me to the 1st grade. So that's why I graduated from school with my youngest aunt. She also had a nephew in that grade. And she was born November the 8th, he was born December 25th. Another year and a few more months went back, February 4th, I was born. So you see, it was a family thing. And sometimes the teacher had on, I can remember Miss Reed getting out of her car when her husband brought her to school with an apron on. And she took it off and threw it back up in the car. We laughed so that morning because when we first saw her, we thought she was bringing us something to eat. But no. She just forgot to take it off, at the house. So to protect and serve. I love aprons. I haven't, maybe the last one I bought was a month or so ago, maybe longer. I stopped at a little consignment shop in Malvern. When I go from Prescott to Dumas, take 270 out of Malvern, and you're gonna go through Malvern and Poyen and Prattsville and Sheridan, and they got some nice little place you stop at, and somebody's having a garage sale, and so they have these aprons. Some people want to throw them away. They practically give them away. I don't use these aprons. I've read a lot of my cookbooks because it's like reading a novel. We don't hardly use aprons anymore, do we? Because we wash every day. Aprons are a nuisance. Who wants something tied around their waist? Or sometimes I can't get it around my waist. So who wants something tied around their waist? So those two books I used in my library also because I knew older ladies who liked these. Okay, the last one, I think that might be the end. Is that the end? Okay. Now, I told you about the torn aprons, but I want to show you 3 of the oldest aprons I have. And I think, Regina, do you have this one? My oldest daughter has it, but this was my mama's apron. And if you notice, these 3 little holes, this was her apron. I remember her wearing this. Okay? All right, and I think she was a quilter, but this was made on the machine, so I think she made it. And this one has some stains on it that Joyce Gibson cannot get out. And you know, they tell you pour hot water on it, but I've yet to pour hot water on it. Okay, it's got a few little tears. And then this one is a very old one too. And anything they can find to decorate an apron with to make it fancy, anything like that. Okay, the torn aprons, you would take a piece of fabric, measure it, and just tear. You'd be on straight grain. And we had to iron. In home ec, we learned to press as you sew. Now y'all gonna tell me y'all didn't take home ec. I know some of you fellas took home ec. Okay. And then later on, we learned to just cut it out, use an apron pattern. But back in the 80s, I saw in like Women's Day or Family Circle magazine, a pattern for making an apron out of 2 quilted placemats. Do you know you can't find quilted placemats anymore, Harley? You really can't. You can find the quilted fabric that you have to put your binding around or bias tape or whatever. But Joyce Gibson can always improvise. Now, where are my models? Okay, I've had these